Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Apologies for it being about a 3-month break. Just situations got in the way and I haven't had time to do any YouTube videos. So I'm back, I've got a new phone and I'm very sunburnt, so this is why I'm looking very sun-kissed, as you would say. But I thought I would do this video on lesbian dating do's and don'ts, because I've been on quite a lot of lesbian dates since I've come out. I've been on a lot of gay dates compared to my straight dates. They're very different, and yeah, I thought this might be a little bit of a fun video and also help some people with tips and things and share some of my experiences as well, because I've had quite a few. So I'm going to start off with the do's first, because it's always nice to start off with the positives rather than the negatives. So my number one do is, when you're on a dating site, if that's where you're meeting this person, at least chat for a few days. Don't go full out and ask them on a date straight away. It's all about being patient, which I have learned in the past few years. And my personal preference is that I chat to the people for maybe like 3-4 days, and then I might maybe give my number to them because it might be easier. Number 2 on my do's is, do get stuff like maybe their Snapchat or something. Basically what I do is I chat to the person on, say, either by the app that I'm on or by text message, and then to genuinely know that the person is actually themselves, I will get their Snapchat. I will ask if they've got a Snapchat. Or like the other day I was chatting to a girl on text message and I told her that I was going out clothes shopping. She wanted us to see what I'd bought, so I sent her some pictures, and then a few days later she was going out clubbing with her friends, so I said, oh well, show me what you look like, and she sent me a picture of herself, and then later on we added each other on Snapchat, and it just helps put my mind at ease a little, because you never know with these sites whether the person is actually the person that you're talking to, or whether it could be someone pretending to be someone. My number 3 do is, when you get to the end of a date, if you feel that the date has gone well and you feel like the feeling's mutual, or maybe you just feel like for your personal preference you feel that it's gone right for you, I would say offer them affection. Like, don't be shy to hug them, which is quite often what I do at the end of dates, because personally my preference is I don't kiss on the first date. But do offer them affection, because then that way if they feel the same they will give the affection back, and then it will kind of like leave a nice ending to the date, and maybe it might lead on to a second date, and it will also show the person that you're interested in them, and then you will know that they're interested in you. So my number 4 for do's is, do you offer to pay for the food or drink if you go out somewhere where you're having dinner or you're drinking cocktails or you're in a bar or a pub? Mainly because with heterosexual couples there's the man and the woman, and it's like the man should pay for the date, because I've been on dates before where I've been on dates with guys and it's always the man who's like, right, I have to pay for this date, and I don't believe that that should be the case. It just really annoys me, because why should it matter? But because it's a same-sex date, it's kind of like there's no man in the date. So when I went on my first date as a gay person, I was just like, oh, what do I do? Like, do I offer to pay? Do I wait for them to pay? And the thing that I've found best is you can either offer to pay for everything, or if you feel that the date's gone well, you can say, oh well, I'll pay for this round of drinks and you get the next one, or I'll pay for this date and you pay for the next one, or you can go halves. It's truly up to you, but just put the offer out there. Don't be the person who's like, I'm gonna wait for them to pay for it. And it is awkward sometimes, I get that, like, because you're like, if you have food and then you pay at the end, you're like, and it can be awkward if you haven't had a great date and you're like, don't really want to pay for this because it's not going to happen again, and I don't like this person. All the dates that I've been on I've either offered to pay and they've gone, no, it's alright, I'll pay, or I've bought one round of drinks and they've brought the other round. And number 5 do tell them after the date whether you want another date or whether you like them or not, or how it went. Don't just leave them hanging. Don't just not text them back, and don't be scared to tell them if you didn't like the date, because I've been in the situation where I've been left hanging and it's not great. Like, if you don't like me, just say, like, you don't have to go on a second date with me, it's fine. Like, it's better for the person to know rather than to leave them hanging. And obviously if it went really well, it's nice for them to know, and then they can message you back and be like, oh, I really enjoyed it too. Be honest, like, let them know how it went. It's only fair. And with that comes great conversation. Like, make sure that you are having a good conversation with this person that you're on a date with, because I've been on dates before where it's kind of like one-handed, where it's me making conversation and then not getting much back from the person, and that never ends well, because obviously if you're dating someone you have to like get on, and you will know when you go on a date whether this person could be right for you, because if they're obviously not really interested in you or not making a conversation with you, then they're not going to be great in a relationship, are they? You're not going to really get on well because you have nothing in common. That was my do's. Coming up with my don'ts. My number 1 don't is give out personal details. Do not tell anyone things like where you live, what your nearest tube station is, what your nearest train station is, what your street name is, where you work, who your family is, what your Facebook is. But don't give out stuff that means that you could be putting yourself at risk. My number 2 don't is one that I have committed several times on dates, most recently actually. Don't talk about your exes. No one wants to know that. Maybe further down the line you might talk about your exes if you're in a relationship with this person, but don't talk about your exes. That's not what you're on a date for. I made the mistake a few dates, like at the beginning of the year, not really talking about my exes but talking about someone I had a crush on, and it led to the person that I got on really well with, which I believe is the reason why she didn't want to go on a second date, is because she still believed I had feelings for this person. And we really got on well, and I mucked it up by telling her about this person that I had a crush on. And obviously she was cautious because she was like, well, I don't want to get involved with a person who still has feelings for someone else. And I mucked it up for myself, didn't I? But I have talked about my ex in the past, not on a date. I get the feeling where, like, I know if I was on a date with someone and they started talking about their ex, I would be like, why are you talking about this person? Like, do I already care? Like, do I want to know about who you've been out with? But yeah, just don't. It's nothing to do with them. Like, they don't really care. Just don't talk about your exes or anyone you have feelings for or anything like that. Talk about the present, because that's what they're interested in. They're interested in you in the present. They don't want to know about your past. Not yet anyway, because they're not in a relationship with you. Don't put them off by doing this, because I've let my listener know. Not going to happen again. My number 3 don't is text them right after a date. Don't do that either. If you feel a date's gone well, then great, that's great. But at least leave it like maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, or maybe at least an average amount of time until you text them, because you don't want to come across as that person that's too eager. And I know I am that person, because if I really like someone, I want to let them know. I want to let them know I had a great time on a date with them. But I've learned that leaving it an ample amount of time is the best thing to do, because they're going to be like, they might be put off by your eagerness, and they're like, oh my gosh, she's so desperate. Like, don't do that. Just give it time. And if they don't text first, text them. I've learnt now to possibly try and be the second person to text, because I feel it's better. I had a really successful date a few months ago, and I was so desperate to like literally text her straight away, and I got on the tube, and like 10 minutes later, after the date, she texted me, which is fine. Like, for me personally, I prefer it if they're eager like that, but I know I prefer not to be too eager on my part to text them straight away, if that makes sense. My number 4 don't is, don't be too pushy. Like, don't be that person that forces yourself on someone or forces someone to kiss you. Like, you can often tell by someone's body language whether they feel comfortable enough to do that. I know if like I was on a date and they came up to me and wanted to kiss me, I'd probably be like, whoa, like that is not okay, like no. Like, no matter how good the date's gone, like it would put me off totally straight away, because I don't agree with kissing on the first date. That's just my personal preference. Yeah, and if they don't want to kiss, like, don't be offended, like, because that might be their personal preference. And my last don't is, don't stand someone up or cancel on someone. If you want to go on a date with someone and you arrange to go on a date and then you think, oh, don't really want to go on a date with them anymore, or you're not really interested, or something changes and you can't go anymore, then don't just cancel on them. Like, give a legitimate reason, or don't just stand them up, because that is the worst. Like, someone might have paid so much money to get a train or a tube to meet that person, and then they don't turn up, and they've wasted their money, they've wasted their time, and it's just common sense. Like, just tell them that you don't want to meet up with them. They will get over it. So yeah, that was my very long guide to lesbian dating do's and don'ts. I'm looking for ideas for future videos, so if anyone has any ideas of what they would like me to do, then please send comments in of what you would like me to do, and I'll be sure to actually think about them and maybe do videos on them. I'm going to try and do more videos, so if you like what you see and want to carry on watching my channel, which has now got 101 subscribers, may I add, which is great. Woo! 100 subscribers, that's amazing. You can find me on social media. I'll put the links in the box below. And yeah, I will see you all again soon. Bye bye.